Hey, this is Stephen Platinum, your friend in wrestling with Platinum versus AEW Dynamite. And I also cover the first segment of Rhodes to the Top, since they usually have a follow-up interview after that first segment. Plus, Rhodes to the Top. So far, so good, right? And if they're going to use Dynamite as the lead-in primarily, though it does show a bunch of different times during the week, it's noteworthy and it's wrestling-related, and we're going to talk about it. So, before the show starts, before Dynamite starts, and this is our second anniversary show, so big deal, right? Most certainly. The thing they promote is Sammy Guevara against Bobby Fish, which I find really interesting. Sometimes they run down a few matches. This time they're really talking about Sammy Guevara and Bobby Fish for the TNT title. We open the show, we got Christian Cage, Jungle Boy, Luchasaurus, Bryan Danielson against Adam Cole, Young Bucks, and Kenny Omega. Now, this match is everything that you want it to be. Noteworthy by their absence, though, Don Callis and the Good Brothers did not make the trip to Philly. We are in Philly, by the way. The match is great, and they kind of lay out everything that you would want to see. You get little moments with Kenny Omega and Bryan Danielson. Luchasaurus gets to shine. Jungle Boy takes most of the heat. Christian Cage takes a couple of huge spots where he's just laid out. I mean, takes the Indie Taker pile driver onto the concrete and all that kind of stuff. At the end, Adam Cole, Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, 4-way BTE trigger on poor Jungle Boy. They crush him and they pin him. We go to commercial. We come back. CM Punk does a great long promo, really babyface of the freaking year for sure. Calls out Daniel Garcia for Rampage. So you're going to get, if you're there live, you're going to get CM Punk twice. Not a bad thing, right? Arn with this great promo where he's got like a barrel fire going in the back of Cody Rhodes' house, and they have a moment, and basically he smacks Cody Rhodes in the face for not wanting to throw his tie in the fire, so Cody Rhodes does. Come back, Bobby Fish with a nice little segment, nice little promo to lead into the match he has with Sammy Guevara. Sammy Guevara, he's a wild one, and so that brings with it a lot of X factors, and some things in the match just don't work, or they look a little sloppy, or they look a little like, uh-oh. Bobby Fish kind of corrals him in. Eventually, Sammy Guevara wins. Top Team shows up, beating him up. Jericho and Hager shows up, and we're going to have Top Team against Inner Circle at some point is the long and short of it. The crowd drowning out, just not wanting to hear it from Dan and Top Team. They just didn't want to hear it, and I don't blame them. The Acclaimed do a little rap about how they're going to get a title shot at the Lucha Brothers on Friday on Rampage. Go to commercial, we come back, we introduce the concept of the TBS women's title. So that's going to be taking place. Cool. Darby promo regarding MJF. Of course, he's going to want to take that match. Then we get Darby Allin against Nick Komoroto. The match is what it should be. Nick gets his moments, but it's really about Darby. He wins the match. QT enters on Sting, hits him with a diamond cutter. Sting no-sells it and then drops him with the death drop. Dark Order with a promo. Are we together? Yes, we are. It is what it is. Tony Schiavone's with Dante Martin in a cool little segment. Again, this is a setup show disguised as a big show. It's what AEW does very well. Malachi Black shows up, lays out Dante Martin, says the House of Black accepts basically the Dante Martin open challenge that he sort of gave. We go to a commercial break. It's noteworthy that Raw is advertising like crazy on AEW during this commercial break, pushing their King of the Ring and Queen of the Ring. It is very strange because AEW fans are infinitely aware of WWE. I dare say almost all of them watch WWE. And the ones that don't won't be converted by a commercial. As opposed to AEW, which is still in the game of making sure wrestling fans by and large know who they are. As their tactic to continue to grow. So I get AEW advertising on Raw and other WWE programming. I don't quite understand it going the other way. But, 'tis what it is. Just my opinion. Ricky Starks does a promo, how he's the FTW champion, brings up the Philadelphia history of it and Taz and all that. Says he would have fought Brian Cage, but Brian Cage is, was a coward. Brian Cage shows up, beats him up a little while, and then they leave. This part of the show, I gotta say, is incredibly lackluster. It's just the middle of this show just feels like it is what it is. Though I did like the promos from each one of the women that are going to be part of this TBS women's title. Thunder Rosa, Sky Blue getting to say her piece, Ruby Soho, and Jade. So super cool, super cool. Match number 4, Hikaru Shida, who's got her award there when she wins her 50th match against Serena Deeb. And again, I cannot praise Hikaru Shida and the work that she's been doing behind the scenes with the women's division in conjunction with Tony Khan. They have done a great job with who they've signed. Hikaru Shida has bitten the bullet the whole way, made sure Britt Baker's ascension to the title was a huge deal, and then took the spotlight off of herself for quite some time. And even here, she loses to Serena Deeb in the Serenity Lock, and Serena Deeb bashes her with her own award that she now doesn't get to have because she didn't get her 50th win. Again, just sacrificing again and again and again to get this women's division over and make Serena Deeb an even bigger player in AEW. I feel the need to point this out because it's very, very important. Hikaru Shida has been selfless throughout this thing and continues to make that women's division stronger, both in terms of the ring work and the decisions made and behind the scenes. And I think she deserves that credit. Dynamite's going to be on Saturday, by the way. By the way, Shida, I think it's an interesting story that they're telling, because they're obviously having the announcers say, the commentators say, oh, Shida's very predictable. And then Shida begins to add new wrinkles into her offense, which gets a huge reaction from the Philly crowd when she does that, swinging her around and then into the DDT. Really, really good. I think changing it up is smart. Darby is backstage, and then a bunch of masked guys jump him, who are obviously the Pinnacle, but they really put it to him. An F10 on the rails, and they're just, it's a brutal, brutal beating, which apparently takes Darby out from the match that he's supposed to have with MJF next week. Leo Rush does a promo where he's kind of talking to Dante Martin. So Dante Martin with a couple of big segments here, and Leo Rush obviously getting back into the mix. Very confident on that mic. Britt Baker does a promo as well, where she says, never forget I'm the top. Got it. And then we have our casino ladder match. Orange Cassidy and Pac start, which I think is a good choice. Really strong stuff. Then Andrade comes in, and Andrade deserves credit here. He looks good in the stuff that he does, and he took that monster bump out of the ring onto the ladder, and it was brutal. So Andrade definitely came to play on this one. Matt Hardy is next. His big spot is to leg drop Orange Cassidy through a table. Brutal, brutal stuff. Lance Archer's there with Moxley. And then Adam Page is our surprise. And it's really great. That crazy dead shot move that he did off of the ladder with Pac through the table was insane. I mean, I was very nervous for a number of these spots, but they all got pulled off. Don't get me wrong. Adam Page and Moxley end up at the top of the ladder, and they're slugging it out. And then Moxley inexplicably loses. I gotta say, this was a very flat finish. That not that they couldn't have done what they did, but there was just something about it that felt very it just didn't let you know that the finish was happening. And again, that finish matters so much. But Adam Page does win. He has a little trouble taking the chip off of the hook, but he does it, and then he wins. And so then we go into Rhodes to the top, and the two main stories are, we get a little glimpse of the Nightmare Factory training school, which is cool, and Cody's friends and who they are. And it's Vance and QT and Ricky Starks. And they're going to have this nightmare bus, and that's the main story. Oh, they forgot the bed for Brandy, and she's mad about it. The segment that they had that tied into Dynamite was an interview with Adam Page, which was very kind of off kilter, and Adam Page doesn't know if he's quite happy, and he seems kind of nervous about what he's going to have to do as far as making it up to people and that kind of thing, and he's drinking too much and all that kind of stuff. So I am not mad at the subtle Adam Page storytelling. I think that's fine. I just think the finish of that match should have been a little more obvious, even if it's Moxley like selling back big, like, oh, am I going to fall? I'm going to fall, and then he does. So it really encapsulates Adam Page is all by himself on this thing, and the crowd can get sufficiently excited for him winning the thing. Small stuff, but these are the things that matter as their audience continues to grow, and they want it to grow even more.